The 8 ways to answer tell me about yourself. This is a question you're going to get in almost every single interview, and it's a question that stumps a whole lot of people. So we're going to give you 8 ways that you can handle this and do a phenomenal job with it on your next interview. Hey, but before we jump into this, please go down and click the subscribe and like button. That helps us keep these videos coming. And this is part of a series on interview questions that you're going to see on all of your interviews. So stay with us. All right, so 8 ways to answer tell me about yourself. This is a question that scares a lot of people going on job interviews. And really, it shouldn't. You know this question's coming, and you should be ready for it. So we're going to give you 8 different ways to jump into it and make sure you do outstanding on your interview. So, number 1, you want to customize your answer to this question to the job and to the company. So make sure when you get this question, you're ready to talk about your background in terms of the job you're interviewing for, or in terms of the company and what the company does, or the company priorities, or whatever it might be. You can't just have a stock answer that you're going to give on every single interview to answer this question. You want to be sure that you're letting the interviewer know that you know about the job, that you know about the company, that you've done a little bit of research. And we'll talk about that more here in just a few minutes. But our first tip for this is you've got to customize the way you answer this question. And it has to be in terms of the job and the company. You probably have a lot of great things in your background, but a lot of it is probably irrelevant to this job or to this company. So keep your answers smooth and on pace. Number 2, always stay on a professional track. Unless they specifically answer or ask you questions about your hobbies or your family or your off work hours, you want to talk about only things that relate to your professional career and that, again, are tied in with the job and the company that you're interviewing for. So when you start thinking about how you're going to answer this question, always stay on a professional track and always talk about professional, career, job-related events of your past that you think are relevant in answering this question. Number 3, when you answer this question, focus on the value that you bring to the company. I think one of the best ways to answer this question is to say how your background brings value. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you're going for a sales position. Now that's a very tangible way in order to give value. So when they say, tell me about yourself, you might answer with a way in, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, you might say, well, I'm a 10-year veteran of healthcare software sales. I have made significant gains in bringing revenue to my organization, and that's the kind of work I think I can bring to this company. So you want to have a great deal of focus in how you answer the tell me about yourself question. In what does it matter to the company? What value can you bring to the company? If you can throw in a tangible tidbit, quantifiable, tangible tidbit that you did in the past, that's what you want to bring and focus on in answering this question. All right, number 4, do not ramble on with a long autobiography. I have interviewed probably thousands of people over the last 15 years, and I usually ask this question. I ask it, 1, as an icebreaker, 2, to see if they're prepared, and 3, to see just how focused they are on the job that they're interviewing for. But if they begin with, well, I left high school and went to college, and at college I was involved in these kinds of clubs or these activities or these organizations, it doesn't matter. You want to focus on being professional, you want to focus on the things that are relevant. They may ask you questions about your background. What did you do in college and that? And that's okay. If they ask it, you want to answer it. But for this question, tell me about yourself. Don't ramble on with a long-winded autobiography. You can almost see your interviewer's eyes glaze over if you start doing that. And you want them to be engaged with you, not with thinking about their next question. Number 5, prepare and rehearse. Hey, you know this question is coming. You know you're going to get asked, well, tell me a little bit about yourself. So if you know the question is coming, go ahead before the interview and decide how you're going to answer that question. Now, you don't need to memorize an answer. You don't need to have a stock answer that you're going to use every time this question is asked. But you know it's coming. There is no excuse not to prepare for it and not to rehearse how you're going to answer the question for the job you're interviewing for. Go back to those first 4 tips we talked about. Make sure it's professional. Make sure you're focused on the job. Make sure you're not rambling. But go ahead and make a few notes in advance of the interview. Think about, prepare, and rehearse how you're going to answer this job because it's so crucial. Now, the best way to know how to prepare and answer this question is you need to research the person that you're interviewing with and research the company. If there's something about that person that you can relate to, if there's something about that person's background that you have in common, you might want to throw that in a very passing, small tidbit kind of way when you answer the question. LinkedIn is probably the best place to go to find out about a person that you're interviewing with. You may not find that person every time when you search LinkedIn, but many times you will, and many times it'll give you some clues about things you might have in common. At the very least, you want to research the company. You want to make sure you know what's the mission of the company, what's the vision of the company, what's the priority of the company, what are new things that the company has posted on their website about they're trying to do. And if you can focus that and factor that in to how you answer this question and throw a little tidbit about that relates to your background, you are in such a powerful position. It demonstrates you're interested. It demonstrates you've done your research. And it demonstrates that you are already available to provide value to the organization. Number 7, always stay positive. You may have had some things in your past that aren't so glamorous. You may have had some negative experiences. You may have you may have had a downfall in a prior job, and maybe that's why you're looking. This is not the time to discuss it. You want to always stay positive and professional when you're answering the tell me about yourself questions. Only put things in your answer that are positive, forward-moving, achievement-oriented, those types of things. You may get asked a question about a negative experience. We'll talk about that later in this series about how to answer that question. But for now, stay positive. You want to come across as a person who is committed, dedicated, will get the job done, prepared, ready. That's what you want to come across with this question. And our last one, don't ever forget that how you answer this question sets your first impression. You've already made an impression when you sent your resume. You've already made an impression when you walked in the door. They're judging you by what you're wearing, by how neat your hair is, your shoes, what are you carrying with you, how do you speak, how do you comport yourself in the interview, how open you are, do you appear nervous. All those judgments are already being made. But this is usually the first time you're going to open your mouth and the first time they're going to start making an evaluation. So take this serious. This sets your first impression like no other question will. Right, so that's our 8 tips for answering this question. Number 1, customize your answer to the job and the company. Number 2, stay on a professional track when you're answering questions. Number 3, focus on what you bring to the company. Number 4, don't ramble on with an autobiography. Number 5, prepare how you're going to answer this question and rehearse it because you know it's coming. Number 6, do some research about the person you're interviewing with and the company. Number 7, always stay positive. And number 8, realize that how you answer this question sets your first impression, so be serious with it. If you'd like to get a copy of our 10 best answers to the Tell Me About Yourself question, just go to the link below this video, click on it, and we'll send you 10 different ways that you can answer this question. Now, don't use these when you're actually answering the question. This is your guide to help you prepare, to help you rehearse, as we talked about in tip number 5. Prepare, rehearse, and get ready. So click below and get our 10 best answers to the question. Also, be sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. That helps us keep these things going and moving. And if you've got another idea or you've got a question about any of this, please put it in the comments below. We do read those, and we'll get back to you. Thanks, and stay tuned for our next in our series of interview questions.